Well, here's what we're doing. You know, we get these loans, the tenants are paying them off. That's the point. Oftentimes people don't look at that.
And they're paying it off with after-tax dollars.
Yeah, they're moving into our places, they're paying our rent, we're taking that rent and we're paying our mortgages, and our mortgages are getting paid down to zero.
Wait a minute. Ken's talking about these $1 million deals. Let me tell you how I started. I'm somebody that knew absolutely nothing about money or financing or investing, and I began investing with a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, and this was back in 1989. The house cost me $45,000. I had to put down $5,000, of which I didn't have, and I had a mortgage or good debt of $40,000. And the reason it was good debt is because every month I would collect the rent, I would pay the expenses, I would pay my mortgage payment, and at the end of the month, I had a positive cash flow of $25. Now, it wasn't a lot, but it was a start. And from there I learned, and I did my next investment and my next investment. So it was good debt because that debt put money in my pocket every single month. Just if people understood that there is such a thing as good debt, because I don't know how many people I talk to, but when I talk about debt, oh man, debt is the dirtiest word in the world. That's the 4-letter word, debt.
Because they're not educated,
no,
that's why.
And people are raised, and I was raised to get out of debt.
You see, this is the thing. You go to a bank, and the banker will sell you mutual funds. But ask them if they will loan you money to buy those mutual funds. The answer is no. But if we go in and we say, we want to buy real estate, oh, how much do you want?
It's because there's collateral.
Yes.
They actually have something physical. That's it.
Yeah, they'll sell you mutual funds, but they won't lend you money on mutual funds. That should tell you something. That should be a quick indicator. Dear God, what are you trying to tell me? You know, and the other part about it is that borrowed money for real estate, is that after tax, pre-tax, or no tax?
It's no tax. Anytime you're borrowing money, there's no tax on that money. You can use that cash. It's not taxable at all.
So if somebody wants to borrow $1 million or save $1 million, it'll probably take them $2 million to save the million, because tax is going to take 50% of it.
Right.
But I just go straight in and borrow $1 million, which they give us. It's great money. I love my banker. I'm not saying bankers are bad. They're fabulous, because they give us the money. All they want is their interest. We keep all the appreciation, depreciation, amortization. We keep all of it. They're the best partners of all. So I'm not anti-bank and I'm not anti-debt. I'm anti-lack of financial education, because there's good debt and there's bad debt.
Your rich dad was a tough mentor. But you know, I think some of the greatest mentors are tough, because a really great mentor will push you to go beyond where you think you can go. And that's some of my best mentors. That's what they've done for me.
Yeah, and I didn't always listen to my rich dad. I still remember I did the real estate course, you know, and I went running out in Honolulu, and I found this condo, and it was for $64,000, and it didn't cash flow. So I went to see my rich dad, and I said, but it's going to go up in value. In other words, capital gains. He says, never buy anything that goes up. It must cash flow. And I said, no, it's going to go up. And we argued and argued and argued. And this is what he said to me. He says, if you start investing for capital gains, someday you will lose big time. So I let that condo go. I didn't pay $64,000. Today it's probably worth $300,000, but I learned the lesson from my coach, my rich dad. If I had gotten into the habit of buying for capital gains, either the price of stocks going up or real estate going up, I might have been wiped out in this crisis. So that's why a coach and a mentor keeps you onto your plan.
And helps you create and develop very, very good financial habits. Because if you have poor financial habits, as you're in your personal life, you're going to take those into your investment life. So one of the most important things is they will help you develop great financial habits.
Because when markets go up, greed sets in, and greed makes people stupid. After 1974, the rules of retirement changed, and suddenly it forced E's and S's into the I quadrant with no financial education, and they started to put their money into these retirement plans. And suddenly, voila, a whole new industry was born called financial planners. And today, it takes 30 days to become a financial planner. It still takes a year and a half to become a massage therapist. You know what I mean? What do you think of mutual funds?
I think they're a great way to make money if you sell them to other people. Well, I think it's one of the worst places a person could put money. They really do. They make other people rich. You know, hidden fees, expense ratios, and you talk about the law of compound interest. Well, there's the law of compound expenses.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If I say to you, invest for the long term, you know what I mean, for 30, 40 years, what do you think about that in a paper asset?
You've lost control that quick. Liquidity is what paper assets are about. Your ability to sell and buy without negotiation and problems. And so the moment you say, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to hold Enron, I'm going to hold WorldCom, and I'm going to hold, GM, and I'm going to hold United Airlines. Well, you can just go on and on.
Like Pan Am.
But the moment you decide to hold that, what control do you have?
None.
In real estate, you can force the appreciation, paint it, carpet. You can't do that with paper.
Well,
Your only control is to sell. If you hold it forever, you're rolling the dice and saying, I hope it works out.
Right. There's a lot of people say, stocks are the best way to go and don't get into real estate. A lot of these financial advisors. But the stocks are good for people who are not business people. You see, as entrepreneurs and real estate people, when you look at a financial statement, I personally am responsible for income, expenses, assets, liabilities. But as an investor, even in Microsoft, I have no control over income, expense, assets, and liabilities.
All you can do is sell or hedge. That's all you can do.
Well, that's right. And what makes it worse is that you take those paper assets that you don't have control over because you're investing long term, and then you put them into our 401k, so you have even less control, because once they're in that 401k, you can't take them out. You really can't do anything with them.
You're penalized for early withdrawal.
You're penalized for pulling them out. And then on top of that, you don't even get the one tax benefit you get with paper assets is capital gains. And you put it into a 401k, you've lost that benefit.
On top of that, when you pull it out, there's 3 types of taxes: earned income, portfolio income, and capital gains or passive income. And savings and mutual funds, what are they taxed at?
Well, when you pull them out, when it's going through a 401k, they're all taxed at that highest ordinary income rate.
It's the worst thing you could possibly do if you plan to be rich. But if you plan to be poor, it's a pretty good plan.
Robert, I've seen you take heat in the press by this, where you say they're risky. And I'll tell you where I think the risk is. When you sit down and they say, we're going to diversify you. That way if one company goes down, you got all these other companies to buoy you up. And that's fine for a non-systematic type thing, but a system-wide problem, it does not protect us if the system breaks down.
Because it's not diversification.
Yeah, it's more fragile now than I think it ever has before. And I think these people saying, well, I'm well diversified. They're not well diversified. You diversify across asset classes, not just in bunches of stocks, in my opinion anyway.
So the problem here with diversification, it doesn't protect you from a crash.
Right.
And it's not diversification anyway, and Warren Buffett, the world's greatest investor, reportedly, says diversification is something like it's protection from ignorance. Right. But it's ignorance from both the person selling you the plan as well as you who invests in the plan. But this is the biggest thing that really bugs me. When Kenny and I buy real estate, we always buy insurance, don't we?
Yeah.
And then when we drive a car, we have insurance, right? Is there insurance for mutual funds?
Well, not for the average person.
No,
I mean,
is there insurance on your 401k that what you put in will be there when you retire?
And which is more likely to burn down in the next 5 years, your home or your 401k?
And I'll say it again, we all drive cars with insurance, hopefully. We have houses with insurance. When we buy real estate, we have insurance. Our companies have insurance. But the 401k, all these retirement plans, there's no insurance on them. So if it crashes, they lose everything, and the mutual fund companies walk away with the money.
And that's a higher level of education, because most people don't know how to hedge that.
Nope.
They don't know how. I mean, it's possible, but if you interview the average person, that's what we teach.
That's what our advanced courses teach, is how to play
But the average person, I liked what your comment said. If you poll the average person, you say, tell me the difference. This is a very basic question. What is the difference between a defined benefit pension plan and a contribution plan? Most of the people I talk to do not know that difference, and that is not a minor thing. That is a major deal.
Time out. This is a very important point. See, in 1974, the rules of retirement changed. Prior to 1974, most people, like my parents, had a defined benefit pension plan. What that meant was that they received a paycheck for life. After 1974, the entire world started on to defined contribution pension plan. What you put in is all you get back. And that's why these defined contribution plans, so many people are terrified of running out of money in retirement simply because with a defined contribution plan, you can lose everything in the market crash or you can run out of money before you die.
The cool part about this whole discussion is those people putting the money in the pension plans and mutual funds, that's the money I get to buy my real estate. It's the truth.
No,
So the money flows from the E's and S's
Flows
to
from
the
the
B's and
ECSs
I's.
to the B's and the I's, and then I make money on their money.
So Kim and I just bought this huge property, 5 golf courses and a major resort, and most of the money came from retirement plans. So I keep putting that money in that 401k, you guys, because it has to go somewhere. Cash always flows, and it flows from the E's and S's to the B's and I's, and that's why financial education is so crucial. Anytime you have no control over your money or your return of your money, you're gambling. So in closing, I'd like to thank all of you for watching and paying attention to this, and I'd also like to thank my friends here, because as you've heard so many times, that one of your greatest assets or your liabilities, the people you hang around with. But there's one more thing about friends. So I want to thank you guys for being givers.
For everybody, what I would leave you with is take control of your life. It's not too late. And in fact, if you're in a difficult situation, now's a better time than ever to make a change. And you can make that change. We've all made this change. Every one of us has been there. We've all been in the dumps, and we've all hit at the top. And we know that we can do it. We know that you can do it. So take control.
You can't wait until you have 100% confidence, because you never have 100% confidence. You know, you do have to take the leap.
It's not until you hit a point where things become so uncomfortable or so painful that you are willing to accept that things aren't working, right? The way that you think they're supposed to work. And so for many people, when they get into a financial crisis, that's their wake-up call, and that's where the change starts.
I mean, help your children today. Take control of their financial education, because they may not receive it in school, but there are experts out there.
And I want to say specifically to the women who are watching, you know, this is your time, and be strong, get that financial education. As we said, knowledge is the new money. And for women, I think this is really an opportunity for you to grow and get stronger. So I encourage you all to just take that next step.
And if the objective is, like Robert says, to turn your mind into an asset instead of a liability, it takes more than one book. It takes more than watching one video. It's a whole process. I mean, there's no professional, there's no athlete, no expert in any area that has become a professional at something in 1 week, or with one book, or with one DVD, or one workshop.
To further your financial education, the Rich Dad Company has advanced educational programs, and these programs are in the business entrepreneurial sector, in real estate, and in paper assets. We also have Rich Dad coaching and mentorship programs in business, real estate, and paper. These programs are developed to get you from where you are today to where you want to be.
You know, the coaching was a really good start for us. It really helped us find what we wanted to do. It helped us find our niche in the market.
I suggest a Rich Dad mentor, because you're learning from the best. My mentor, she walked me through everything as far as my first deal, and after I built up from that first deal, I was able to go out and seal a few more deals after that, and each time I learned from the mistakes that I made the previous one, and I gained the confidence that I needed.
It is imperative that you get role models in the form of coaches and trainers every step of the way. They're going to keep you on track. You know, you've got to go through a minefield of failure to get over onto the side of success where you want to be.
Well, I am a personal trainer, and I can tell you from my own experiences that trying to do something that you know nothing about without someone to guide you, you're going to waste a lot of time.
See, my rich dad was my mentor, but he was also my coach. He was also my cheerleader. He was also the meanest SOB I ever met in my life. But that's why I got far. So today, it's a habit to have a coach, because professionals have coaches.
That's right.
And amateurs, they got themselves.
And it's much easier to follow in somebody else's footsteps than it is to reinvent the wheel. And if you want to make it a long and painful journey, do it all by yourself.
You're going to get your education one way or the other. And if you don't get it now, you're going to get it later, and you'll probably end up spending a lot more money in the long run than doing it right the first time.
Education is a process. For example, I entered Navy flight school in Pensacola, Florida, And 2 years later, I popped out as a Marine helicopter gunship pilot on my way to Vietnam. That educational process transitioned me from a guy who couldn't fly to somebody who became one of the best pilots in the world. The same thing with education. When you go to school, the question is, what do you come out as? When you go through the process of education, do you come out an employee? Do you come out a person who needs a paycheck? Do you come out a person always looking for a job? You know, person working hard and paying excessive taxes. So most people go to school and they pop out E's and S's. To come out as a B and an I, you need financial education, because financial education is also a process. So finally, one of the ways we learn best is by repetition. For example, I didn't learn to flying once. I kept flying and flying got better and better. So one of the reasons we created this DVD, or this program for you, is even if you didn't understand everything, you know, see it again. You know, wait a week, look at it, and more will absorb to you. Wait another week, watch it again, and more will make sense. I can only shift your context. You have to put in the content. And you're going to make up your mind today, or you're going to say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. So that's why I talk about Rich Dad's education and all that stuff, because I want you to make your changes. If you don't, you can see what's going to happen. Great words about quitting from a great man, one of the greatest leaders of all in the past 100 years is Winston Churchill. In the darkest hour of England, he said, never give up, never give up, never, never, never. Thank you for watching this. Thank you, guys. Let's out of here. We're out of here. Thank you.
Společnost Media Empire je největší producent CD a DVD nosičů pro váš osobní rozvoj a firemní růst. Kompletní nabídku naleznete na www.vzdělávacífilmy.cz. Přejeme vám příjemný poslech.